So we'll start by introducing ourselves, and then we'll get started in the presentation. I'll start. I'm Michelle Rodewald. I'm the Director of Adult Workforce Education at Auburn Career Center. I've worked there for now going on 23 years, have had a lot of different experiences there. My current role puts me in charge of adult programming and business partnerships. I really enjoy my job. I really enjoy our partnership we've had with the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and we're excited to tell you about the grant opportunity and what we're doing in that realm for people with developmental disabilities.
And I am Julie O'Neill. I am from Deepwood. I have 25 years experience in public school and special education, and I had the honor of coming to Deepwood about 5 years ago, and in the role of employment navigation, and I did just that. I helped individuals with developmental disabilities, job seekers that wanted to find work. I helped them navigate that world and all the services available. Now I am in a community employment development role, and so I run programming where we have individuals working in the community, and I get to partner with Auburn Career Center on that training of individuals because that's an important piece of getting the right job for yourself. So we'll give you a little history, some things that were happening prior to Auburn seeking the grant. We came together, and again, training is important for all individuals, and so we said, what could we offer, what could we tap into at Auburn that would help our individuals with disabilities get a leg up rather than taking entry-level jobs? So we started with two courses. One is a culinary customer service skills class, and one was a salon skills class. And in those classes, they learn just that, customer service. They learn how to work together in those two different settings. We ran two of each of those courses, and from that, we just saw our individuals blossom. They went out and they found jobs in a salon. They found jobs dishwashing in a restaurant, but got themselves into a restaurant setting because they really enjoyed that culinary class. They found themselves so comfortable at Auburn that they wanted to take more courses at Auburn. So we saw this as it started to open doors for our individuals. The two instructors really were kind of pushing us. What's next? What are we doing? You know, how can we do more of this? And along came this grant.
So a little bit of background about what we're doing right now is we did a little presentation earlier today. When you think about COVID-19 and the students who went through the last couple years of 2020 and 21 and even into 22, a lot of students who are graduating high school really had to think and learn differently. There was a lot of online schools, a lot of not coming into the classroom, obviously, right? I don't have to go into all that. A lot of money did flow to high schools and places of higher education to help those individuals. And only recently has money been flowing now to help people with developmental disabilities. And our target audience for this grant that we received is the students with developmental disabilities that would have graduated during the COVID years. However, we can use the grant, which we have now until August of 2024, to help people with developmental disabilities that are currently in school, people that have graduated, which is our target audience during COVID, and people who are older, okay? So that's just a little background. Going back to what Julie says, we started with a couple culinary arts class and salon skills, and then we had a really unique thing happening at Auburn simultaneously. We had something called sprint classes going on, and those sprint classes were geared for students to get credentials quickly and to help them with their graduation points for graduation. One of the students that took the salon skills, a student with a developmental disability that took the salon skills class and the other culinary customer service class, found out that these sprint classes were going on. And he said, hey, I would really like to take that FANUC robotic class. That sounds cool. So we said, why not? Just join in. And at the same time, we had an emergency medical technician high school student in that class, and she naturally took on this role of mentoring this student with developmental disabilities. Nobody asked her to. What she would do is if he got anxious, she would walk around with him a little bit. She noticed that he was a visual learner. So what she did is she took a whiteboard out and she helped draw out the concept for him. And we thought, wow, this is really cool. This is just something that we never expected to happen. So when the Ohio Board of Developmental Disabilities put out the RFP for the grant, we decided to work with the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities right away, and we talked about our success with students finding some work and the success with the mentors, went ahead and wrote the grant, and here we are today. So in your folders, there's this catalog of classes, and on the screen, 3 are highlighted. And the grant that we received, like I said, is going to be until August of 2024, calls us to make sure we're offering industry-recognized credentials, nationally recognized credentials, with the goal of helping students find integrated employment as a result. When we developed the grant, we said that we really would like students with developmental disabilities to stack their credentials. So for example, if a student was going to be doing machining, that we would hope that they might also do customer service, or the healthcare one, if something were to happen in the environment of the manufacturing space. So we do have students that are already doing that. They're stacking their credentials. This is an example of 3 of the programs. We have IT Industry of the Future, which is Industry 4.0. All of the students with developmental disabilities did earn that credential. Rise Up Customer Service, electrical troubleshooting. And because we're at AWT today, we're going to focus a little bit on the manufacturing fundamentals that we offered. We're in our 2nd round right now. We have students in the class as we speak. The 2 pictures on the bottom are current students that are there tonight, right now, at the moment. And they're working with, the girl's student is working with a mentor behind her to just make sure the student is being safe and helping the teacher. The things that we're focusing on with the students with developmental disabilities for manufacturing include safety, basic measurement, drawings, the milling machine, the lathe machine, and manufacturing assemblies. And last night, it was only the 2nd night of a 2-week program. Our students finished their first project using the Bridgeport. They created a metal pen and pencil holder, and they completed it within 6 hours. So the students were very engaged. They really enjoyed themselves. We didn't have an issue with safety, but we also had the mentors with us, and it was a really great success. And tonight they're starting their 2nd project. The teacher's fantastic, and it's been a really great experience. And then before I go to the next slide, the student on the top in the red shirt, this is an example of a really great success story. He came to our first round of classes, and by the way, when we have students, the Board of Developmental Disabilities is really helping us get all of those students. That's the great thing about this partnership. I mean, they're the ones that are really recruiting for us. His name is Dominic, and he came and did the first manufacturing fundamentals class, liked it so much, he came back and did a tour of our full-time program, which is 9 months, and he decided to sign up. He signed up just this week, and that full-time CNC machining class has a full-time internship component. So talk about pathways to careers. After he takes the short class and then takes the full-time class, he's really going to have a great opportunity. This is an example on the screen. It's also in your folder of all of the different credentials we're offering in these programs. Right now in the summer, we're only offering 3 classes because of our teacher availability. Most of our teachers in our classes are full-time instructors during the day, and it's hard to get people to come in the summer, so we're offering 3. But we're focusing on these areas and these credentials between now and August. So as a local manufacturing company or a partner of AWT, if you're looking at those list of credentials and you think those might fit into your company environment, then perhaps you can consider partnering with us and taking on someone with a developmental disability, which we'll talk about in a minute. On the left-hand side are a listing of all of the students who have taken our classes, the credentials that were offered, and then the percentage of students who passed the credentials. So we're doing a really great job there. We did see that in Rise Up Customer Service, which is a credential that can be useful in any industry, right? It was very difficult for our students with developmental disabilities to pass that credential test. And the reason for that was it was a 90-question multiple choice test that many of the students with developmental disabilities had to have a reader for. And I was one of those readers, and it was a hard test. I mean, when I was reading the questions and then the multiple choice answers, I was having a difficult time, and I consider myself very good at customer service. So it was hard. And we're going to look at maybe customer service retail for the Rise Up credential in the future. But other than that, we're doing really great helping students get the credentials. We hope that, again, they stack them. Maybe they'll take a full-time class. Maybe they'll be looking for employment.
On that chart that was on the last screen, and there was one young lady that did pass that Rise Up assessment. And she did just that. She stacked, that's her third class she's taken with us. So she's gotten to know the routine at Auburn. She was comfortable there. She actually works in my program, so she's out there in the workforce. And she passed that. And to see her smile on the stage that night, holy cow. But that's why it works, is that she, with experience and the repetition of the things that are going on for her, she was able to pass that. And that, as Michelle said, we're going to make some adjustments. We have said to the students, to the instructors, and to the mentors the entire time, we're learning along with you. So we're adjusting our sales as we need to, and that's one place we realize we need to adjust. The other place we want to adjust is if you see something there that maybe is missing, approach us, or something that you do like, whatever it might be. We want to tailor this to what our community needs and what our individuals want to learn and find them the best fit. I've already said it once tonight. My mantra is we're finding jobs for these individuals based on their interest, their skill set, and a supportive environment. We're counting on businesses in Lake County to be that supportive environment. This is the benefits, we're highlighting some benefits of hiring someone with a developmental disability. And maybe there's some people in the room that would attest to some of these things. Our individuals, they're so dependable. They're showing up every day. They want to be there. They're on time. They stick around, so you don't hire them, spend all the money on onboarding, and then they're out the door in 2 to 3 months. They want to be at work. They're very productive. They will increase your company morale and overall culture. They are a delight to be around. They surprise you every day with their skills and their interests and their sense of humor, whatever it might be. Certain size companies can benefit even from tax incentives, tax breaks, those kinds of things. You will expand your consumer market because these individuals come with a wide support group. And so I ran a store where these individuals were working for us, and that was my customer base, were their family and their support. So that's wonderful. It's an untapped labor pool. It's maybe not your first thing that you're thinking of when you're thinking about filling some of your openings. So we want you to start thinking of individuals with disabilities as an untapped pool that you could potentially use to fill some of your openings. And then the new employee has the potential of coming with a job coach. And what that means is that takes off the onboarding of training of that particular skill set for your individual, puts it on the job coach. It takes it off of your staff potentially. And the question we had earlier today, and I do this every day and I forget that all of you don't, that job coach is not paid for by you. That job coach, our individuals with developmental disabilities are connected to our agency, Deepwood, Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities. They have a funding source through the state, a Medicaid funded source. And what happens is they have a plan that designs what is going to be a meaningful week for them. If employment is in that meaningful week and we're going to pay for services around employment, that could be a job coach. That job coach then is covered. So that is no expense to the company. Many of our individuals can be employed directly by you or with a contract by that provider who supplies that job coach. So that even saves you from some of the onboarding and requirements of some larger corporations. We find that when we approach some of our larger corporations in Lake County, there's so much red tape that it's very difficult to hire an entry-level position, maybe part-time. Maybe you have a policy that doesn't allow part-time versus full-time. Contract with us, potentially, and we can be that employer so we can get around some of those things to allow you to dip your toe in the water and give it a try. I wanted to go back to our how we got here, and the young man that we mentioned, he took the culinary class and he ended up in the robotics class, and it's just one of those, he actually sits on our steering committee, and it's just the coolest outcome that it really was not so much the skill set, but his confidence. And so much more than what we even expected is coming from this experience and this partnership. And so that young man now has more confidence, so he'd be coming into your company with also some soft skills that we're all looking for. So it's just more than just the credential piece is coming from this partnership, and just so exciting for us.
This young lady in the slide also is another example of something we didn't think would necessarily happen as a result of this partnership. 2 of our student mentors are now employed in areas related to working with students with developmental disabilities.
Right.
The Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities hired one of our mentors even before our first session was completed. She had to wait till she was 18.
Right.
And this young lady came this week with her new T-shirt, and you can't necessarily read it, but it's the Centers with Autism. She left the mentoring position and then went right to get a job in that organization. So this talk about pathways to employment, it's helped not only the students, but it's helped our mentors. And then that's another area where we just didn't expect. So I just wanted to talk a little bit too about ways to become involved, and I have to give a shout out to Bill because he has hired some of our students with developmental disabilities before, and it's been fantastic. Especially students with autism in the machining industry tend to do really well, and he's found a place for them in his company, and they've moved up the ladder. We're really looking for companies, in addition to Bill's, to partner with us with students with developmental disabilities, because that is the goal of the grant. We can offer a lot of training. We can have students who stack credentials. We can, help them with their confidence level. We can have them work with Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities if they're not already, but ultimately the goal is to help them find some integrated employment. So if you're interested in this in any respect, here are some ways to become involved. We do have, Julie has her own her own business advisory council that you can learn more about students with developmental disabilities and how their organization can help you in hiring. We have some job fairs throughout this experience at Auburn, specifically for the students with developmental disabilities. And like we were saying at this morning's event that we talked to, I think potentially companies are hesitant to come to a job fair because they believe that they're going to be under the gun to hire somebody, and we really don't want people to think that. We really want companies to come in and learn about what we're doing and just talk with students and find out a little bit more with no obligation to do any hiring or to come back to every single one of them. We're just looking for companies to learn more, basically. Because I think when you learn more, you're going to find that it might be something you consider. And if not, that's okay too. You've learned a little bit. We're offering in your folder, there's 3 classes going on now. Next week, we're having all of them tonight, but we have 3 more sessions next week. You're welcome to come in, just walk in the door and check it out, meet the teacher, see what the students are doing in the classroom. We would love that. And then consider hiring students. And the other thing, untapped thing we haven't done in the grant yet, is to work with apprenticeships. We are charged with trying to find companies that do have an apprenticeship model to consider bringing a student with a developmental disability into the apprenticeship. And that's something that we're going to be working on more in the next handful of months.
So in your folder, I included this flyer here, and this is for the Business Advisory Council. And it truly is a group of business owners around the county that are interested in learning more about being inclusive in your hiring practices and in your employment practices. So we have companies that have been doing this, that sit around the table with companies that are interested in what does this even look like. And when yes, the ultimate goal is to have someone in a competitive, integrated job. And what does that mean? Integrated means they're not working with other people with developmental disabilities. It's an integrated setting, and they're earning a comparable wage to someone else doing that job, at least minimum wage. We want you to learn from the companies that have figured out how it works. We want you to be a supportive environment if you want to be. So the competitive employment is the ultimate goal, but there's many steps along the way. These training programs are arming our individuals with more skills, but also just job shadowing, seeing what a work environment looks like. What does manufacturing look like versus retail versus a restaurant? You think back to when you were 16 and what you knew about work was, where you went to eat, where you went to shop, and, that's all you knew. And so we want to expand their horizons. So if you're willing to open your doors for some of those tours and things like that, that would be beneficial. So yes, we're encouraging you to hire, but we're also encouraging you to get involved along the way to be part of the training and experience for these individuals. So we'd appreciate that.
Anybody have any questions? Yes. Hi.
I'm like running through. We had 27 students neurodivergent.
I don't know.
Well, I will say who was attending. I'm just trying to picture my crowd. Yeah. It was actually our first round. Very out of the 27, maybe 5 or 6 that first round. And as she said, we're helping to recruit. So we have eligible individuals that are seeking jobs or maybe they're working. When we talk about the path to employment, we could have a part-time job. We all did it. We went out for part-time jobs. That's not the job we stayed in. It gave us good experience, but then we moved on. So some of these individuals are already working, but they want a better job. So that's our job, is to find the students to attend. So some of them are using it potentially as career exploration. Some are using it to get a leg up in an industry. But we just, again, we're not going to discount any of that because we're just seeing value in what's happening from their experience. But it was actually a fairly low number.
Just one other question.
Yeah.
Yep, of course.
For the Lake County Board, you have to make a kind of a commitment, or could you come to a meeting just, to your point, to learn how other companies are making this work?
Right, no commitment. I mean, your commitment would be you want to learn more. That's all we're asking. Yep. And so my card is in there. My information's even on the flyer, and I'm Julie.
Any other questions? Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time. Let us know if you'd like to partner.